A good evening and a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us today on this webinar. My name is Lawrence Tajani and I am working on behalf of the St Benedict Trust. And this webinar is about online safety and how we can support parents. As you may have seen in the chat, I've put down where are you signing in from? Just let us know. Also, the reason for doing that is just to make sure you can locate the chat function. It should be on the right-hand side if you're on a computer. And if you're signing in from a phone, it should just be at the bottom of the feed. And please use this function to ask questions. We will be having a Q&A at the end if we've got enough time because there is a lot of content to get through. So the main purpose of this webinar is to support you as parents and guardians to safeguard your children from online threats to actually using the internet safely and healthily as well. And I'm not going to be delivering a session today. It's going to be delivered by Pip, who is our primary specialist from Happy to Host that is supporting the trust. So I'll bring Pip on stage. I'll be in the chat. And also, actually, let me take a step back. We've also got Eugene in the chat, who is the digital lead for the trust. And just one thing to say is that if there are anything that you are concerned about, the first point of call is to contact your school. This is more from a general piece of information to help safeguard your child and help them build up healthy habits while using the internet. So, because we've got a lot of content, that's all I'm going to say. But like I said, I'll be in the chat and I'm going to hand over to Pip, who I will be bringing to the stage now. Good afternoon, Pip.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. Great to be introduced to you all and to have the opportunity to be able to deliver this session. So, yeah, really, we're going to be talking about how we can help families to thrive in a digital world. And I'll be going through my slides as I present this to you. But as Lawrence just mentioned, we'll have lots of opportunity for sharing across the way. And really, we'd love to hear from you because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be as supportive as possible for families. And really, we are people that you can come to. You'll be able to communicate across the trust if you need any further support. So let's get started then. We are exploring how we can support our children to use technology positively and purposefully. So Lawrence already introduced me, but to give you a bit of background, I am the digital learning for primary and working with Happy to Host Education. But my background, I also work with Common Sense Education and deliver online safety and digital citizenship for schools and families across the UK. So this is how the session is going to be broken down into 4 main goals. Firstly, we're going to take that modern digital playground and we're going to explore it. So we're going to talk about what themes you might be seeing coming through for families and from a teacher side, what that looks like for us. Then giving you some support to navigate those, so equipping you with the tools. Then we're going to go for a bit of modeling, so looking at what it might look like for your family. And remember, every family is different. So we're not going to be pushing specific guidance, but every family has different needs, and that is okay. And finally, we're going to share some take-home conversation starters that you can use straight away to support media balance in your school, in your home. So in the chat, we're going to be asking questions as we go, but to frame this entire session, I just thought I would like to ask, what's one digital challenge your families may be currently facing, or something you've noticed, or something that you hear parents talking about the most? So I'll give you a moment to write that in the chat if you found it, and I'd love to hear from all of you who have joined this call. Thank you, Lawrence, for sharing. Okay, and whilst you're writing that, I'm going to move forward and then I'll start to read these as they come through. but remember that's what's one digital challenge your family is currently facing. Love that. So thinking about the time spent online. So it's something that comes up a lot on the educator side about screen time, and I'll be talking about active, passive, creative screen time there as well. Okay, so let's focus on this concept of the modern digital playground. So understanding what digital life actually looks like for children today. And in order to share this with you, we're going to be talking about and sharing research from Common Sense Media and also from Ofcom. So Ofcom is the UK regulator. So they set and enforce codes of practice for TV, for media, which is used across the UK. I'm loving to see these coming in. So Eugene saying he has a 15-year-old, discussions around screen time, what apps they should be using, and safeguarding them while using those apps, and keeping up with new platforms. That's certainly something we want to help with. So the stats really are pretty eye-opening. Nearly half of young people now have a phone by age of 9, and some even earlier. Teens are receiving an average of 237 notifications a day. So that's roughly one every 4 minutes during waking hours. So when I deliver sessions in school, I always ask the question, hands up if you have a mobile phone. And I'm always surprised the amount of children that put their hands up. So 1 in 5 of 3 to 5-year-olds have mobile phones, and 85% are watching YouTube. And that's a real concern because when you're using a family device, you can't manage the algorithm. So the ads that the children might see are often quite inappropriate for that age. So beyond that, looking at 6 to 7, 48% use live streaming sites and apps. So that's live content with messaging features, meaning they can contact people they might not actually know. These places are quite uncontrolled and often unfiltered spaces. And then from 8 to 9, 69% have a social media profile. So the main apps being used are YouTube, WhatsApp, and TikTok. And something that I always reflect on is it's surprising that so many social media profiles, seem to be created by children in this age, when apps like TikTok have 13 plus for age suggestions. So it shows that the age restrictions are not being followed. So children aren't being protected when they're going to these apps in the first place. So therefore, these responsibilities come to families, which is really challenging for them. So screen time is a huge part of children's lives. And very accurately, we've just seen it being mentioned across the comments around time being spent online, children always being online. Children spend about 2.5 hours a day with screen media, and that increases with age. And the way that that sort of media is put together, what it's constructed by, is watching television and videos dominates it. And gaming is having a large increase. So that's the area that we're seeing more and more children being part of. So if I just jump ahead. Now, as it's been mentioned, short form video is becoming a new source of video viewing for younger children. We're also, because of this, seeing a rapid rise in short form content like TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts, Instagram. And these videos, they are quick and fun. And I'm sure as members of the community, I know myself, I use some of these apps, but they're also designed for constant engagement, not for young audiences, and they can be really challenging to moderate. So we've noticed a few trends in education about what children tend to be watching, and a lot of this will come into the classroom because we'll see children acting in a specific way, and it might be led from maybe something they've seen on social media, or something that's happened quite a lot recently is children playing Roblox and playing the Adopt Me game, and then issues happening within that game and that filtering into the classroom. So I wondered if there's any trends that you might have noticed with your children or again with your parent community. So That's a question just to put in the chat. So what trends have you noticed with your children about how they're using technology, incidents that might have been happening that you might be willing to share? And I'm hoping when we spot some of these trends, we might be able to tailor and give specific support around them using some of the resources that I'm going to go through. So a lack of concentration and the ability to observe, so observational abilities. Short form video having an impact on attention span, yeah, certainly. So I think there's that statistic, isn't there, around children's attention span dropping in terms of the amount of time they can, pay attention for. And that's partly due to, lack of focus coming in again. This is really great to see these coming in because we're going to be talking a lot about screen time and media balance. So this is very supportive of the discussion that we're going to. Okay. I'm going to move forward. So thank you very much for sharing those. It's really helpful to hear about the trends that are happening at home and to have your interaction throughout the presentation. So things like aggression, changing in behavior through technology. I think there's there's disinhibition, which is a word which means that children don't often think, the way that they're acting online is not a way they would conduct themselves in real life, and essentially a life if they were face to face. So disinhibition happens quite a lot, and that's something that we also see quite a lot of trends on in school. And often modeled behavior online might be more aggressive and is often not appropriate. So I'm going to jump in now and just look at some different statistics. So devices are also recognized as emotional tools for children. So they're used to help students to calm down. They're used to help children at home to calm down, to eat meals, to fall asleep, to support them as they're traveling from place to place. It's also a good reminder that how tech is used matters just as much as how much. So that's what we're really going to be unpicking today, is being clear about the fact that not all screen time is created equal. So there is passive technology use, like scrolling, watching something go by. Quite a lot of passive use might be using two forms of technology at one time. So watching a TV in the background and then having a handheld device here classifies as being passive. The interactive use, so that's a higher, more quality way of using technology. So like learning, video chatting, staying in touch with family members, and then creative use, so coding or making videos. So our goal here is not to eliminate screens. I think it's quite obvious that technology is not going away, but to encourage these more interactive and creative times with technology. And that's something we will be focusing on a little bit later on throughout the session. So moving on, we're going to put our experiences into practice, and we're going to look at navigating some key online challenges. So sharing guidance and hoping to empower you as families. So when we're in school, myself as an educator, if I hear about an incident happening using technology or families come and ask me for advice, these are the resources which I would be going to, and I will share them with you about how you can access them at home as well. So this is what we'd talk about in terms of a scenario, and quite often this comes into action. So it's normal for both children and family members to feel overwhelmed. And I just really want to highlight that you might be finding at home this line saying, my child has a better understanding of technology than me. That is okay. Lots of family members, lots of people feel like that, but we're just here to support one another. And maybe a child wants a game because everyone else has it. So that's a really challenging one, especially if that age rating is not for that specific age. The parent been worrying that they don't want them to see something that's inappropriate, but also it's hard that they're having that, well, conflict with their child around using specific tech. So these are conversations happening in homes and in schools and with family members all of the time. So what do you do as a family member? How do you decide whether an app or a game is appropriate for your child? So if they're coming to you and going, I want to access this, how do you decide whether the app or the game is appropriate? And I'd love to use some of the examples people have to support this community. I'm going to see if any of the resources that we share as part of schools and will come up here if parents are accessing them. So looking at age rating, yeah, certainly. So when I move forward in a moment and talk about content, age ratings are there to keep us safe and are recommended for that. Yeah, age rating again. So that's a great step. Checking the content. So I wonder, when it comes to age ratings, where might you be going to check that? Searching for information about age ratings. So there seems like a consistent theme here. And the type of game and child. Yeah, I think you've got to think about that as well. So you have to treat every single case well. Maybe think about your specific child and how they're using the game. I think, again, we're not here to essentially enforce, we're just here to offer guidance, and every household is different. Conduct some research online, reading about the features and themes of an app before making a decision. Nice. And it's a great idea to model that and engage the child and say, that's what you need to look at. So you might be able to research that together. Okay, so moving forward. So how do schools keep children safe? So as a point here, and it's very clear looking at the examples that have been shared from families, you're looking at age ratings, you're doing a similar thing to what we do in school. So the Department for Education, through a document called Keeping Children Safe in Education, it shares guidance around the 4 C's, which is how we protect children. So they stand for, the first one being content. So content is talking about, if you were going to a specific website, app, game, watching content, is it firstly age appropriate? And if it's above the age rating, then we'll just be saying you shouldn't be going there. And that's a really clear way of making sure that the appropriateness of something is okay. The next one is about contact. So an example with contact would be something like FIFA, which has a age rating of 3 years old, but you can't control who you are going to be contacting within that game. And through that, it's something that is really hard for families to regulate. So being aware that what games children are accessing or what videos, if there's like a live chat within them, that children might be being contacted by people they do not know. So we always encourage children to only play with children that they know online. So conduct, sort of building on that point, is about how people behave within these. And normally, if the conduct is inappropriate, we advise children to know how to report, block, and then go and tell a trusted adult. And I'll be sharing you some guidance for families about how you can go through and show your child to do those. The last one is commerce, which has been added more recently, and it refers to children doing in-app purchasing. So quite often you'll see younger children maybe trying to click on something to get rid of it, and they might spend something on your credit card which is linked to the device. So that's how commerce comes up, in-app purchasing, and how that can get out of control. So from here, we're going to look at how to support families to navigate and make informed choices online. So the first resource I'm going to share with you is Common Sense Media. And Common Sense Media is where you can go and you can find out age ratings. Then we're going to be talking about boundaries, and I'm going to jump on and show you Internet Matters and then go on to Google Family Link. So I'm going to share this tab with you. And here you'll see Common Sense Media. And Common Sense Media is broken down into educators and into families. And within this, I have just signed in as a parent up here. And you'll see you've got movies, TVs, books, and loads of guidance here. So if I was to go and click into one of these, for example, a movie, then what I would be receiving and the guidance I would get is essentially what Common Sense Media says about this. So it's sort of Common Sense Media do their own review on every single resource. They also cover what parents say about a resource as well. And in some places, you will also have what children say. So it's a really great way of gathering what people are currently saying and the themes around what children are accessing. So it's got the age rating. It's got information for parents about what they need to know. So some key information. And then underneath, it's got some highlights. So it goes through why is it age 16? So talking about violence and scariness. Talks about language, drinking, drugs, smoking, sex, romance and nudity. Then positive role models, diverse representations, and positive messages. So this is a really great place for you to go to find out if what a child is accessing is appropriate for them. So that is Common Sense Media. Now, I'm just going to come back here. So Common Sense Media can help you to select some of that good technology. And with this in mind, we really want to encourage you to set up boundaries at home. So boundaries are thinking about when is it appropriate to use technology and when might it not. So things like mobile-free meal times are a really great idea. Real books at bedtime. Being kind online, creating, don't consume. And to support you with this, I'm going to highlight Internet Matters and Google Family Link as two great resources again to support you. So if I jump across to Internet Matters, so internetmatters.org, and it has parental control guides. So when you are using a resource, and for example, if we said something like Roblox or TikTok, well, Roblox comes up a lot more because the age rating, I believe, is 7+ or 8+. So within this, often the settings on all of these are not turned on in a way to keep children safe. And it would be down to families to access and then make those changes. And it's a real frustration, actually, that social media apps, games, they're not set up with those things in place to start with. It should be the other way around. But if you go to internetmatters.org and parental controls, you can go here. And if I was going to look at Roblox, for example, then I can look at Roblox parental controls and I can download a guide which is going to support me at setting up Roblox and being aware of all of the ways that you can keep children safe using that technology. So I would really recommend Internet Matters and reading through these steps in order to support you, and they'll help to give you more oversight about how children are interacting with that technology and ways that you can keep them safe within it. So if I just jump back, so within parental controls, the guides there that I've clicked on, I have clicked on, games. It's got guidance for apps as well, but it does also have guidance for your search engines and for the broadband in your house. So if you want a bit of support setting those up in the most safe way, then there's also that as well. Now, another resource that I would really recommend is Google Family Link. Now, Google Family Link is an app that you would have on your device, and then you might put it onto a child's device as well. And what this offers you is really a way to keep your family safer online. So it means that you can create a dialogue around the technology that they are using. So some of the features that you'll be able to put ground rules, so set screen time limits on their device, and you can also do this from app to app. Then furthermore, you can manage content, filters, security and privacy through that. You can lock down their phone, and also it has like a mapping feature within it. So it's quite a good way of being able to keep track of where the child is in order to support them to be safe. So that's Google Family Link, another one that's been recommended by, well, lots of parents, and I think is really supportive. So hopefully those are some great tools that sort of will empower you to use tech, well, feel confident about using technology quite positively. So before we move on, I've got another question, and I just want to ask, what's one digital tool or app that you found genuinely helpful for your family? So is there anything that you've come across that is genuinely helpful, which you would want to share, or you think is really positive to share? And I wonder if we can support this actually by being able to put some suggestions through the trust about what good technology looks like. And I use that resource, Common Sense Media, a lot within schools to access like top apps for children or suggested websites that might be able to help them with their learning as well. Okay, so if you get a chance, just reflect on one tool, one app. So Family Link there, great to see that is being used. Okay, right, I'm going to move forward. So that's very much gone through the empowerment, helping you to feel more equipped about using technology and what families are accessing. Yeah, I love to hear that. So I really would say Family Link is a great one to access. Okay, so moving forward, we're going to talk a little bit about AI, so artificial intelligence. It's very much, I'm sure, part of your lives and also a huge part of children's lives as well. So where are children already using AI? They are using it in voice assistants, in filters, chatbots, even in things like homework helpers. We're going to put on this quick video now, which really highlights what AI is, as in something that's been around for quite a long time, which we might not have really called AI at that time. But then it's going to go into generative AI in a more recent iteration of that, things like ChatGPT, Gemini, and it will talk you through the differences and just give you a bit of guidance before we talk about AI bias, which is something to really be aware of for children and for families.
Every time your kid asks Siri a question, watches a YouTube video, or takes a picture with their smartphone, they interact with artificial intelligence. AI has been around for a while, but recent advancements have brought artificial intelligence back into the spotlight. So, what is artificial intelligence? It's a program made by people that makes computers do things that seem intelligent or smart in the same way that humans are intelligent. How does AI work? First, AI is built using data, lots of it. Much of the data comes from the internet and includes things like websites, newspaper articles, books, social media posts, and anything else that has been put online, including personal information such as your full name, birthday, photos, and more. This information can be incorrect or biased. Then, computer engineers build intelligent programs that use data to learn, solve problems, and make decisions. An example of AI that makes predictions is the tech behind the scenes in social media platforms your kid probably uses, like Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. These recommendation programs use information like your kid's browsing history and their interests to predict what posts or videos are most likely to keep them engaged and online. AI can also be used to create or generate content like text, images, audio, and even video. This is called generative AI. You can find this newer type of generative AI in applications like ChatGPT, where you can use text instructions to ask the AI to do things like answer questions, have a conversation, or generate a picture. AI can make mistakes or show bias if the data it learns from is incorrect or unfair. Bias means favoring or discriminating unfairly against a person, group, or idea. AI isn't limited to just making predictions or generating content. It's called artificial intelligence because it allows machines to do things that seem human. This includes learning. A digital map may learn which routes have less traffic at different times of day. Perception. Smart assistants listen to voice commands and use AI to interpret the instructions you give them. Natural interaction. AI chatbots mimic how humans speak to simulate conversations. And reasoning. Self-driving cars use sensors to perceive their environment and make driving decisions like how fast to go or when to stop. As you can see, artificial intelligence is being used in a lot of things, and it's already embedded in many of the digital spaces you and your kid navigate every day. So, the next time you have a tech talk with your kid, ask them, what excites you and what concerns you about AI? And to find out some answers to these questions, check out our toolkit.
Okay, so I hope that was a great introduction to what AI might have been, and I'm sure there might be areas of use that's already happening across this community. So I'll talk briefly about AI bias, and it was mentioned within that video, but just to highlight, well, AI bias can really impact our lives, and it's very important that we support children with understanding that. So we're going to look at a quick example in a moment, but when we train AI, on biased or incomplete data, it can make mistakes. And often this is summarized that it didn't really treat all people, places, and things quite accurately, and it's just going to repeat this. So it's about understanding it and helping students to think critically about the technology that they use. So we are going to do another session later on at another point across this academic year, looking more at AI, but just to highlight about what AI bias might look like. So here's an example of training data. And what it says is you can use the images on the right to help train the AI. So based on the training data we have, what types of fruit might AI be able to identify? So here, orange, things that are round, they can be yellow, orange, or red. They can also be cartoons or photos, and they can be cut in half. And then an apple, a cartoon, an image, red and grow on trees and have a green leaf. So you can see it's not even that accurate in terms of what we're training in. And grapes, they're purple and they have leaves. So when it comes down to looking at AI and AI bias, this is an example of what you might receive. So you might notice that AI has recognized some of these incorrectly. It's trained on the data that we are giving it. So here it thinks that a tomato is an apple, likely because it is red. So that would be leaning on a bias about things being red along those lines, or a grape because it was on a tree like it was previously, the confusion around that as well. So if the data that AI is based on contains any biases or is incomplete, the AI can end up being biased too. So in that video, it recommended to think about some of the negative impacts and consequences of AI bias and talk to children about how they're using AI and encouraging that sort of space to talk about it. So really important that we're thinking about AI being used more widely and really how children are going to come across it and what biases they might recognize, such as misinformation due to AI and other examples of misleading information. So let's bring that back from AI. And it was mentioned very early within this session around screen time. So we're going to be talking about healthy media habits and how you can set boundaries and set these up at home. So healthy media use isn't about restriction of time. It's about balance. And just to sort of set the scene and bring us back onto this, I'm going to put up a quick video which shows some of the experiences families are having around technology and their children's use. Just as a caveat, this is an American video, so you will hear the families talking about it with American accents, but I think what they say is actually very relevant for the UK audience. So I'll be looking at what are some of the challenges you face with media and tech as a parent.
But what's challenging for me is, as my children, they're small, but as they're getting older and they're more interested in technology, I can't keep up with how everything. And I thought I could. I thought I got this, right? But I can't keep up with all of the new games and this and that and parental controls and privacy settings, like all these things I just cannot keep up with. And sometimes I get frustrated and I tell my husband, you deal with that, because I just know he cannot be watching this, that, or the other. So that's what's frustrating for me. Yeah.
One of the biggest ones for me personally, and this may sound crazy to some people, especially if you don't actually have kids, but for me, it's fighting that challenge of the addiction. You don't want your kid to become addicted to this thing where it becomes a necessity, where it's it's a great tool for a road trip, but are they able to get in the car without it?
Right.
What is the first thing they do when they wake up? Is it grab the tablet? Is it turn on the TV? I remember one time I took my son's tablet from him and he went nuts. And I was looking at him, I was like, boy, you have a problem.
Okay, so we're just going to bring it back now, but I think that very much sets the scene about how we're recognizing children interacting with technology. So let's look at some practical tools and strategies for you as a family. So we're going to look at what might a week look like using technology. So in order to do this, we're going to look at something that we all have a concept and understanding of, which is meals. And the concept that every family has or knows what makes a healthy meal. So just as important to this, we think or can think about having a healthy, balanced meal of media for technology as well. So what I'm going to ask you to do in a moment is create your ideal meals. So I'll ask you in a moment, I'll give you a few minutes to grab a piece of paper, to draw a circle just like this, and to split it up into equal sections. And when you've got that, I want you to come and share or write within that some of the various activities you want your child to engage in every week. So some activity ideas are playtime, reading, chores, musical arts, family game time, outdoor education activities, apps. So just make up your, digital meal, your balanced plate with those ideas. So it'll be over to you to draw a circle on a piece of paper. So grab one out and I'll give you 5 minutes. But please recognize that every family is different for this, and that is absolutely okay. There is no right or wrong answer, and it changes over time. So the school holidays are going to be different to in term time, or due to seasons, we're going to have different experiences of how technology is used. So I'm going to challenge you now. This has got 8 sections. Go and write it down, draw your circle, and I will put up these sections for you to take a look at. But we'll have a bit of a 5-minute break for you just to write down some quick ideas for doing that. Okay, I'm just going to give it 1 more minute just to put those ideas down. So I've got my example right up on the screen if you want to take a look at it.
And it'd be great to start adding them to the chats as well. Obviously, we can't see your meals, but it'd be great to get an idea of them. So if you have finished, feel free to start adding them to the chat.
Okay, thank you. So we'll bring it back together and we'll move forward. Okay, so hopefully you've had an opportunity to write down your ideal meals. Now, hopefully what you'll recognize is there's a bit of a balance on that plate. So that should be combined of lots of different activities which reflect lots of different ways of using technology or not. So take a look at what you have so far and just have a quick think about how technology fits into it. So which of the ideas do you think could be supported by using technology? And in order to reflect on that, I just go around and mark them with T, or if they don't use technology, just put a cross by them. And that way it will help you to reflect, and hopefully you'll see a bit of a balanced meal coming together about how you can have that positive interaction with technology in a really supportive way, but in also a very balanced way, which is really important. So once you've gone around and put the T's and the crosses, this is something that maybe you could use to start conversations at home. So as we move forward, just to remember, not all screen time is created equal. So we're going to have a little look about how you can use this plan that you've put together to use and create a space for positive technology use at home. So meals is an acronym, and it's really here to help families to remember to model good behavior, to engage in what children watch or play, adjust choices for age and time, limit, so using boundaries, and support one another. So to start with, looking at M for model. So through their actions, grown-ups indirectly teach children how technology can be used. We can't always be perfect, but we can try to model in an appropriate way. So you might think about taking care of devices, keeping the TV off when no one's watching, using only one device at a time, or not using screens before bed or in the bathroom, and putting away or silencing phones during family times. So another way is to bring children into the conversation. So you might say, mummy or daddy is checking what they need to buy at the shops on their phone, or we're using technology to see what's on in the library to reserve something. So some great ways to model how you're using it. E is for engaging, so using technology to bond. So if you're able to co-view, co-play, and work with a child at the same time they're using technology, share that experience. But when you might not be able to share that experience with them, you could also follow up with questions about it afterwards. So ask them to share what they've been doing and create a space for that. A is for adjusting. So again, not all screens are created equal. It's about the quality within that. So just as you choose what type of food to eat, depending on the time of day or the situation, it's important to adjust what movies, apps, or games, the content, which we shared as part of the 4 C's, the context, specific needs of your child. So ask yourself, is this high quality content? Check the ratings, check the reviews. When and where are they watching it? So don't let it interfere with sleep or meal times. and look at how your child is interacting with it and how does it make them feel. And this will help them with their own development. So regulation comes up quite a lot with technology, which would be part of that. And L is for limit. So set limits early and apply rules consistently. So have clear expectations about when children use technology. Set limits about what types of content they can watch or play. So you can use common sense media to support you with that. You could look at Internet Matters as well to support you with looking at the content which they can access. And create tech-free zones. So digital downtimes. So no devices during dinner or screens off an hour before bed would be a lovely example. Make room and set expectations for flexibility. So, of course, not every family is the same, and you need to look at what priorities are suitable in that moment. And if it's really warm and sunny outside, that's going to be different to being in Britain as it's getting into those winter nights. So maybe looking at a shared movie time might be more suitable. And I'm sure as we get towards Christmas, that's going to happen more and more. And S is for share and support. So as educators, we always talk about sharing our practices and how we can help one another. It's the same for families. So we've looked at sharing some of the best practices. So people have put in the chat about things like Family Link. We've also seen someone messaging about Life 360, so you can support each other and see where your children are. So support is helping one another out, and that might not be other parents at the end of the day, but it might be relatives, it might be grandmothers or grandfathers of younger children as well. Keep them in the loop with your support as well. So that's meals. To finish then, and really to empower you to continue this conversation at home, I just want to share with you these family tech planners, and we will make sure that these are accessible for you. But what they are, it is a document which is set for a specific age. So we have 2 to 8, 9 to 12, 13 plus, and they will help you to come to a sort of family media agreement. So creating that space, that time at home. And really the first step is starting discussions, and these family tech planners can really help you with that. So to bring this all together, I think it's lovely to highlight on impacting the real impact, or highlighting the impact, of a real book in the hands of learners. So this is a curated list around digital citizenship and around media literacy and balance. So we've got some suggested books here for younger children, and then some more for older children. And it's just been shared in the chat for you if you'd like to access that. But we've been working with some libraries with Common Sense Education about making sure that all libraries have these books ready for you. So you can always go and check there and see if there's a book that you might want to access. So to finish, we're going to leave some space for questions. So we'd love to hear from you if you have any questions. And also we've got some guidance here about how to keep up to date with everything that Happy to Host and is happening across the trust.
Thank you so much, Pip. That was some honestly great content, really valuable. Me as myself as a parent, got some tips there. He's only 3 years old, but we gave him the phone while we were traveling on the plane, and behavior change. So yeah, definitely looking at that. Once again, to all the parents, thank you so much for joining. Like I said, we're leaving some space for you to answer any questions. While you might be thinking about those questions or typing those in, Pip, if you could just go to the next slide, because what's really important for us is that you share your feedback with us, which is, this is how we improve these webinars and make them better as well. So I will pop the link shortly into the chat, and it's literally going to take you 3 minutes to complete it. Just please do give us some feedback so we can improve as well. Let me just get that for you, the link. Sorry, I've not got it down. There we go. So it will be appearing in the chat in 3, 2, 1. Don't know what I'm counting to, but here it is. It's going to appear now in the chat. It's on screen as well, but also here is the link here too. So yes, please do feel free to just fill that in for us. I'm just gonna make sure I've got a hyperlinked one version for you as well. But yeah, we're on the call for the next 6 minutes. So if there are any questions, please do put them in the chat. And the first point of call, if there's anything you're concerned about, is to speak to your school, your contact at your school. They will also have this recording too. And as I mentioned in the chat also, was that there will be an email that will come out tomorrow with the recording, a copy of the presentation, and also links to the resources that Pip has mentioned in this webinar today as well. Okay, first question in. Right, let's have a look at this first question. So, as our children get older, how do we adapt behavior around media access? Pip, do you want to go for that one, or do you want to try that, and then I'll jump in as well?
Yeah, sure. So I think the first stage would be making sure you've created an environment where you can have that conversation. So from whatever age they are right now, and as they grow older, make sure that there's a safe space for you to sort of set up those guidelines. But really, I'd use these resources that we've highlighted. So Internet Matters would be a very good one to go to help you set up a sort of guideline. So Internet Matters we haven't highlighted just here. We've looked at the reporting part, but there's an element of a family toolkit. And as part of that toolkit, you can talk about the apps they're accessing and you can sort of put it together. So you might be able to have a succinct plan over time about what resources are relevant for them.
Yeah, and also just to add into that is that conversational piece and asking them why do they want that piece of software application, what is the reasoning, because then you can actually start to have a really open discussion and also the maturity of their child as well. But I think it also goes back to what Pip mentioned too. It's about they mirror what they see from a young age as well. And I notice it sometimes. I'm on my phone and then my child would just pop behind me and put his head on my phone. I'm like, oh, this is family time. So yeah, hope that helped. Okay, I can't see any more questions coming in. Please do remember spend just literally a couple of minutes and giving us some feedback so we can improve these webinars for the future. Like I said, there'll be a couple more across the academic year, and it's a chance for you to also say what you would like to see in these webinars in the future. Once again, I want to say a big thank you to Pip for that fantastic webinar, expertly delivered. You're the guy, you got it. Great stuff. Thank you for Eugene and St Benedict Trust in letting us host this with you, and hopefully we see you soon. Have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.